PTW podcast time. It is week 5, believe it or not. Week 4 came and went. We are already in week 5. September football is out the door, and we are in October already, where really the real football starts. I am joined, first off, my name is Amir from the PTW podcast, the Play to Win podcast. I am joined, as always, by my friend Tassi the Football Greek, who is still in Hawaii.
Aloha.
Aloha again.
I haven't learned any other words in my time here, but
that's all you need.
I think I know mahalo. Mahalo is another one. That's all I need. Aloha and mahalo.
Aloha is pretty much all you need, right? Isn't it like basically hello and goodbye at the same time?
Pretty much. Yeah. So
that shows you how cultured I am, that I've been to Hawaii like 3 times, and I kind of know that, but I kind of don't. So welcome to the PTW podcast, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. As always, if you want to support this podcast in any way, shape, or form, we would greatly appreciate you liking and subscribing to the PTW podcast. It would be a huge help to us. We are slowly but surely getting traction on this podcast, and more of you are finding us through Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and here on YouTube as well. So if you're listening to us on any of those streaming platforms, make sure to subscribe to us so that you know when we drop a new episode. And if you're viewing us on YouTube and you're seeing our beautiful faces, then make sure that you like and subscribe, which definitely helps out the YouTube algorithm, gets us to more eyes, and allows us to do this more often as well.
Nice.
Tassi, we've been complaining the entire week. Not the entire week, the entire season. We've been complaining that Thursday night football sucks and that every game has been terrible. Why are they putting division games on Thursday night football? And a few nights ago, last night actually, the Bucs and the Falcons said, hold my beer, because that was easily the best Thursday night football game that we've had so far this season.
Yeah, without a doubt. And you like that?
Kirk Cousins, man.
Man, what a game.
Kirk Cousins.
509 yards, four passing touchdowns.
Blows my mind.
I did play him in fantasy, and I got 68 points from Captain Kirk. So incredible. I was pretty happy about that.
Absolutely.
But
incredible.
Yeah, what a game by him. He was on it. Him, Drake London.
We lost Tassi. He's in Hawaii. He's dealing with that terrible internet in Hawaii. He's coming right back. Don't worry. There you are.
Yeah,
I got you. Don't worry. We're good. We're recording in 720 as well, so I'm trying to bring down your upload a stream in Hawaii, but Hawaii is like saying, we don't know. You're doing some shady stuff over there.
That chill Hawaiian vibe.
Yeah, you do.
Internet.
They're like, you're supposed to be on vacation, man. What are you doing?
What are you doing? What are you doing right now? But yeah, like Drake London, Darnell Mooney.
Yeah.
Mooney, excuse me. Huge games. I would definitely want to pick him up in fantasy. Darnell Mooney, he's definitely fantasy relevant. And then Kyle Pitts with shows up out of nowhere after his 0-point performance last week and gets you a big game. Yep. And then the hero in overtime is Hodge. He comes in because Drake London gets hurt on the play before. Next play, 45-yard touchdown to the house, game over. Also on the Tampa Bay side, Baker Mayfield played awesome. He had 3 TDs in the first half. Mm-hmm. And then the second half, he got rolled up on a little bit, and I think he wasn't quite the same. He still kind of got out of the pocket, was running. But, he Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, all solid plays. And then, again, the Rachaad White, Bucky Irvin was pretty much a 50-50 split. Bucky Irvin, huge fumble at the end of the game there that pretty much allowed Atlanta to come back and tie the game, because I think they would have got at least a field goal there, and then Atlanta would have had to have gotten a touchdown to win the game.
Yeah, so, Tampa Bay, by all accounts and purposes, should have won the game. They had plenty of opportunity to close it yesterday. Atlanta just took advantage of some opportunities that were presented to them. But these stats, I want to focus on this again, because these stats are insane. Look at this. These are incredible. Kirk Cousins threw the ball 58 times and completed 42 of them for
Yeah.
509 yards, 4 touchdowns, and only 1 interception. That is insane. And then you go down here to receiving. You have basically almost three receivers that hit 100 yards. You get two of them when Drake London and Darnell Mooney. Kyle Pitts was 12 yards away from also having 100 yards. I mean,
Yeah.
just an insane offensive production. And then
Yeah.
just that just blows my mind right
This
there.
was the Atlanta offense that we were kind of thinking like, oh, hey, this could be something special with Kirk Cousins, like
Yeah.
right with all these young weapons. Finally, this is kind of like what we were thinking maybe in the preseason would come about. Then that first game against the Steelers, like he looked like a statue. We're like, oh, he's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And then all of since then, he led the comeback victory against the Eagles. He should have beat the Chiefs if it wasn't for some BS. And then he comes out and he has a huge game against the Tampa Bay Bucks. Like it was enormous. So
Yeah.
great game by him, and the Atlanta Falcons offense is starting to click. Even Bijan Robinson had 61 yards on 12 carries. He averaged over 5 yards a carry. So
Yeah.
awesome game by him too. So they're looking legit, and they're tied for the lead in division now, and we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. But they're gonna be around.
I think that division, surprisingly, is right now the best division in football. You have the Bucks, you have the Saints, and you have the Falcons, all doing really well. And I think going into the season, that was a division that everyone was like, whatever.
Yeah.
And those three teams are really showing up. Carolina, not so much. But the
Yeah.
other three, but the other
Well,
three teams,
Andy
we'll see.
Dalton, man, the
We'll
Red
see.
Rifle.
We'll see. We'll see. They had an off game last week. I mean, they scored more points than they did before. And I saw an interesting stat where Carolina with Bryce Young had only scored 1 touchdown the entire season, and with Andy Dalton, they've scored 7. So that just tells you how much more emphasis and importance that position has, and how much of a better position that team is in. We're going to move on to predicting the rest of the week here going into week 5. And as we go into each game, we'll talk fantasy implications as well if there's any to talk about. I want to focus on 3 games in particular, and then we'll kind of sparingly go over the rest of the week as well. But in a game where I think if the NFL were able to flex it, they would absolutely flex it to Sunday night. Bills and Texans is a very interesting game to me. This is a game where Bills are coming off of
getting destroyed
by the Ravens.
Yeah.
Texans are coming out of.
Yeah.
I mean, they won comeback victory, but against the Jaguars, they had to really, really struggle. And I don't know if that says more about the Jaguars being a competent team, or if that says more about the Texans not really being who we thought they were going to be at this point in the season. This is an interesting game, though. 10 a.m. game at Houston. Buffalo coming off of that huge embarrassing loss against the Ravens. Both teams 3-1. Something's got to give.
Yeah.
Where's your mind going with this? Because I'm kind of perplexed. I don't know who to pick in this game, to be honest with you.
So, the Bills, they don't have Khalil Shakir for this game. He's been ruled out. So that's their number one receiver for Josh Allen, who's going to be out. So that's a pretty big loss for him. So they're going to be relying on Keon Coleman, the rookie, as their primary wide receiver. And, that as it's going to be tough against the Texans defense that's, pretty good. So, I think it's going to be – I think Allen's going to struggle a little bit. He's probably going to run – they're probably going to try to run the ball a little bit more. So I expect James Cook to be heavily involved and a lot of checkdowns. And then also Josh Allen's probably going to run the ball a little bit more in this game. And that's on the Bills side. And then on the Texans side, Joe Mixon's out again with his ankle. He's still not going to play. And so Dameon Pierce is questionable. He might be back, but it looks like it's going to be Cam Akers again in the backfield. And then the Texans are getting Tank Dell back. So they're going to have their full complement of wide receivers.
Nice.
I just think with the offensive firepower that the Texans have, they have Diggs, they have Nico Collins, they have Tank Dell back. Even with Cam Akers, who's not that great anymore, and like he hasn't really had that. He's averaging like under 3 yards a carry this year. I think the Texans are going to win this game, so
Yeah,
I'm gonna give it to them.
yeah, I think I agree with you, especially with it being a home game for them.
Yeah,
Um, CJ Stroud, for all intents and purposes, is having a great season thus far. I mean, he's not MVP echelon yet, but the statistics are looking good. He's got more passing yardage than Josh Allen at this point. He's got pretty much the same completion percentage. So Josh Allen just hasn't thrown any interceptions yet, which is pretty shocking. That might change with this game. That might not change with this game. Who
yeah,
knows? But Josh Allen, Ravens game aside, has looked very, very good. This was something that I said before, and leading up to that Ravens game, that the Bills really hadn't played anyone of note. Now they're playing two teams back to back in the Ravens and the Texans that are going to give them a run for their money. Are they going to succumb to 3-2, or will they show up here and go to 4-1? I'm with you. I think the Texans take care of business here, and it'll be a close one. But I'm gonna side with the Texans here. Maybe a last second field goal victory, something like that. Okay. When the Cowboys play, it's always a big deal, and when the Steelers play, it's always a big deal. These are two big fan bases.
yep,
And the Cowboys are coming off of a win, not a huge convincing win, but a win nonetheless against the Giants on Thursday Night Football last week. They get 10 days break.
yep.
And
That
the
was
Steelers are coming off of
a loss.
a loss.
Their
Yes.
first loss.
Their first loss of the season. Um, Justin Fields still slated to be starting quarterback.
He is.
And it's a Sunday night game. It's amazing to me, by the way. Like, just it's hilarious. I have a friend of mine who is a Cowboys fan, and I was talking about Sunday Ticket, and they're like, "Well, I don't need to get Sunday Ticket because pretty much every Cowboys game is prime time," and they're 100% correct. They
Yeah,
go from a Thursday night game to a Sunday night game to a Monday night game to like America's game of the week and back to a Thursday
yeah.
night. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And then they're going to be the Sunday night game too in a couple of weeks with the Niners too.
I
So
mean, it is what it is. But
it keeps
anyways,
going.
Cowboys
How about them Cowboys?
play the Steelers. And, obviously Pittsburgh's defense is next level. I think they're going to give the Cowboys a run for their money. However, the Steelers offense still does not impress me that much. And granted, Cowboys are down two of their star players, right? And as far
Yeah,
as
Micah
defense
Parsons
goes.
is out,
Yep,
and Marcus Lawrence.
correct. So what are you thinking here? Where do you think this game is going to go?
I just believe in the Steelers defense, man. They're at home. Steelers have a tough D. I don't believe in Dallas's defense as much as as well as they were last year. And now
Mm-hmm.
that they're missing a lot of these key elements that make them a good defense,
Mm-hmm.
like their best pass rushers, I don't really see it being that big of a contest. I honestly think that the Steelers are gonna like kind of because Dallas is not really a tough team, and Steelers are very tough. Like Dallas seems to be almost like they're soft, and that's why they kind of when they go up against these hard nosed teams, they tend to like not do that well. So I'm gonna go with the Steelers here. Couple of things about the game: Jalen Warren's out, so it's going to be Najee Harris's backfield.
Yep.
So like him in fantasy, and then on the other side with the Cowboys, it's looking like we're talking about Rico Dowdle is the guy that's going to be the main running back.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say there's no reason why Dalvin Cook should be on the bench, man. Get him off, get him in this game, have him play a little bit. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right? That's
Yeah,
my
exactly.
that's my two
I
cents on that.
I don't know if that's going to end up happening though. Honestly, like
Yeah,
I think they're going to stick with Zeke Elliott. They're going to stick with Rico Dowdle, and then I think, but he's the guy in the backfield for sure that I expect is going to be the guy that gets the majority of the carries because Zeke Elliott does not look good.
yeah. So far, not working out for him coming back to Dallas. But I will agree with you on this. I think just because it's at home with the Steelers, I think the Steelers take it. That's where I'm at. I don't necessarily think that the Steelers will steamroll Cowboys, but I think it'll lean towards the Steelers. I think being at home, Sunday night game is going to work out in their advantage. Okay, I have a prediction for you.
Yeah.
Even though the banner says, "Well, they go 5-0," I think this is the first game of the season that the Chiefs lose. I think Saints and Chiefs, Monday night game. It's at the Chiefs. Okay, so conventional wisdom would tell you that the Chiefs are going to win this game. But I'm of the mind that New Orleans has had, two pretty bad beats in a row after starting out the season really, really strong. I think this is the game they get their mojo back. That's what I'm thinking. They played not too long ago where the Saints did beat them in New Orleans, but that was in New Orleans. But I'm thinking that this is the game where the Saints come back and go to 3-2, and the Saints and the Chiefs lose their first game of the season. What say you, the football Greek?
Yeah, so the Chiefs are dealing with some injuries now. They got Rashee Rice, who looks like he's gone on IR. They're saying torn ACL, but they haven't made an announcement yet. So they're doing some more tests. So we'll see about that. And then the other thing that they've got is they've got they kind of got a weird situation in the backfield now. Because last game they had Steele that pretty much got benched, and they went with Kareem Hunt most of the game, and now Kareem Hunt's dealing with an injury. So we'll see what happens if that's going to be the case or not. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes with the backfield. I'm not really quite sure, but depending on if Kareem Hunt plays, he's going to be the guy in the backfield for sure. And then Samaje Perine will kind of mix in a little bit, but I think they're done with Carson Steele after the fumble, and kind of like he was kind of like a flash in the pan kind of guy. So I don't think he's going to do that well. So,
do you agree with me? Do you think the Saints eke this one out and go to 3-2 and hand the Chiefs the first loss of the season? I'm putting you on the spot.
I do not. I think the Chiefs are going to somehow, some way,
they're going to ref their way to 5-0.
Get away, get a call like they always do. It's going to be some stupid thing that happens, and it's going to happen again, and the Chiefs are going to get another victory.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, that's my take. I mean, I don't have much rhyme or reason to it because the Chiefs, they're pretty beat up.
Yeah.
I know that Kamara has been limited in practice. We'll see if he plays, but he was limited last week and he played well. I think that Taysom Hill is going to be out because he has 2 broken ribs. So that might be, tough for them near the goal line, but I usually like Juwan Johnson comes through and he's like the only tight end. So we'll see about that. He might score a touchdown this week. So
we'll see.
Anybody doing any prop bets? So, but yeah, I don't know. For some reason, I just think the Chiefs. On paper, it looks like
they're gonna eke it out.
On paper, it doesn't make sense. Like it should be the Saints game because they're healthier and they have a better. I think they have a better roster on both sides of the ball. But Chiefs got Mahomes. So what are you gonna do? I think they eke it out somehow, some way. They find a way, as usual.
Let's talk about the rest of week 4. We're going to kind of just breeze over these games. I know you got to get back to living that Hawaii life, living that easy life. So before you have to come back to the real world here. So let's just go game by game. If you have any thoughts on them, we can kind of go into it in depth. If not, we can just kind of breeze through and think and talk about who we think is going to win. But we're going to start with the London game. London Jets. Basically at Vikings, but it's in London. This is an interesting game to me. Many predicting that this is where the Vikings get their first loss of the season. A lot of talk about whether or not the Jets defense is going to be able to stop Sam Darnold because apparently they've got it figured out. But for me, this is the Sam Darnold revenge game, and I think the Vikings go to 5-0. I think this is an easy win for the Vikings. To be honest with you, I don't even think it's going to be close.
I think the Vikings are going to win this game for sure.
Yeah.
This is the Vikings game to win, and they are playing so well right now. I'm with you. I think the Vikings go to 5-0. The Jets lost in pretty bad fashion last week. They should have won the game. The kicker missed the field goal, and I was watching the whole thing unravel next to a depressed Jets fan. So that was pretty funny. But honestly, I do think the Vikings, they're too good. They're at home. It's just another game that they're gonna take. I think they should get the win here. So I think they're at home, right? Or no, are they on the road?
It's in London.
Oh, it's in London. That's right. It's the London game.
It's the 3:30 in the morning Hawaiian time game.
I know. I'm gonna have to get up really early to watch that one. Yeah. No. So yeah, honestly, like that. There's not much of a home field advantage, but still, the Vikings are they're just a way better team.
I think they're a better team. I think they're a better team, and I think Sam Darnold is out for blood.
Yeah, Sam Darnold's playing well, man.
Exactly. Well, it's against his former team, right? It's against the Jets, right? So I think it's a very good revenge game for him.
Yeah.
And it's a team that Aaron Rodgers is quite familiar with against the Vikings, but maybe he's not familiar with this version of them, the Brian Flores defense version of them. They're going to throw a ton of surprises at him, and I don't think he's going to be ready. Okay, let's breeze through the rest of these. Panthers at Bears. Why not? I picked the Panthers to go 2-3. What do you think?
No, I think the Bears win this game. The defense is too strong. With the Bears, I would actually play them in fantasy. I feel like the Andy Dalton initial boost is gonna
it lasted one game.
Yeah, it's gonna hit the skids a little bit. And I think the Bears pick up another win here. So okay. I like the Bears to win this game.
Okay, Ravens at Bengals, division game here. I don't listen. I know the Bengals got to win. They got to win against the Panthers team. I think the Ravens are the best 2-2 team in the league by a mile. I think the Ravens destroy them. And I know division games are different. Division games can be close, right? Division games are always you kind of know. We've lost Hossie. He'll get back here in a minute once his internet is up and running. Hawaii internet is just kicking him off. He's having too much fun. Yeah. I love you get disconnected quick and then you come back even quicker, which I appreciate. You're on it. You're just getting right back. Division games, yeah, teams play each other real well in division games, but I don't know, man. I like the Ravens right now, man. Especially with Derrick Henry. I don't see. They got unlucky week 1, fluky game week 2, and then they have been, in my opinion, the best team in the AFC week 3 and week 4. So I see them continuing that trajectory here.
I do too. I think the Ravens are going to win this game. They're just too strong right now, and their defense is starting to click. I mean, what they did to Buffalo last week was just any sign of, Buffalo was flying high. They were undefeated. They were, just come off the destruction of the Jaguars. Yep. And then they just destroyed them in turn. So I do think Ravens keep it rolling, and they got Lamar playing well. They've got, Derrick Henry playing well, and they haven't got much out of their tight ends lately, so we'll see how, Mark Andrews shows up because he hasn't had a catch in 2 games. It's pretty crazy. But the coach came out and said they're going to try to get him more involved. He's going to have big games, so we'll see what happens with that. But they haven't even needed him, to be honest. So, they've been playing so well. So I do think their defense is starting to click. They're playing a lot better on that side of the ball as well. And, it shouldn't be like a blowout because the division games are usually tough. But I do think the Ravens pull it out.
Yeah, I agree with you. Moving on to another division game, Colts at Jaguars. I have a hot take for you. I think Jaguars win their first game of the season here. I think I like Joe Flacco a lot. But I think Colts are playing without Jonathan Taylor, right?
That's right. They got
He's
Trey
out.
Sermon is going to be their running back,
I
and
think I
yeah,
think the
he's not
Jags
good.
win their first. I think the Jags win their first game of the season.
He's
I
not
do.
good. He's not a good running back.
Yeah.
Niners drafted him. He couldn't even make the squad. They got rid of him, and he like averages 2 yards a carry. So
Yeah.
no, to replace Jonathan Taylor, like all pro running back, is going to be impossible for them, especially with Trey Sermon. And yeah, look, Jaguars played a little bit better in their last game. They almost beat Houston. I think they do get a win this game. It's going to be their first win, and I think they do pretty convincingly. Honestly, I think they'll win by at least a touchdown this game.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. We're both in agreement there. And easily the worst game of the week. Dolphins at Patriots. I'm not ashamed to say it. The Dolphins are the worst team in the NFL. I'm not ashamed to say it at all. They absolutely are.
It's pretty dismal. The quarterback.
No, they're
plays.
bad. They're bad. No,
It's
the whole
pretty
team.
bad.
It's not the quarterback. The entire team is not playing great. Even the defense
Yeah.
couldn't stop Mason Rudolph, bro. And they couldn't stop Will Levis and Mason Rudolph. So I don't want to hear
Nope.
any of it.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
They're the worst. Yeah. So in the worst. Yeah, I'm not picking the Dolphins to win anything anymore until they show me that they're actually a competent team. So the Patriots are winning this game. What do you think?
Oh man,
They
Patriots
suck,
really
Tossie.
bad. I know.
The Dolphins suck. This is.
They do.
I'm a Dolphin fan. I don't. Where's my helmet? Where's
Yeah.
my helmet? My helmet's around here
Yeah.
somewhere. They suck, dude.
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Yeah, it looks like I think the Patriots will get their second win. I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to think of ways
Don't
the
be.
Dolphins can win this game, but Huntley
I-
he can.
I-
He can't throw the ball. I mean, if you can't throw the ball as a quarterback, that he got way too predictable. They just stack the box, and like if he can't hit Tyreek Hill going deep. He underthrows him.
No, he can't do
And
anything.
so, it's I think the Patriots. An interesting about the Patriots, they're benching Ramondre Stevenson. I don't know if they're benching him like he's not going to play, but he's not going to start, and it's going to be Antonio Gibson. So, in your fantasy leagues, Antonio Gibson, good pickup. He's been averaging over 5 yards a carry. He's been, he's a good PPR back, so he catches balls out of the backfield. So Antonio Gibson probably a good play, especially if you do daily. So I like him.
Yeah,
for this game.
don't play anyone on the Dolphins for your fantasy. They will only disappoint you. Tyreek Hill
Yeah,
has
Tyreek
so
Hill's
far.
been really bad.
He's been I mean, whatever. You could argue it's
Outside
not
of
his
his
fault,
one
but
long touchdown, he hasn't had it.
you
I have him. on
you
my
could
fantasy
argue
list.
you could argue it's not his fault, but we predicted an MVP season for him, and that's been anything but. Okay, we're moving on. From that trash heap of a game. Browns at Commanders. If there was ever a one-sided game, it's this game, dude. Commanders are gonna wipe the floor with the Browns, in my opinion. What do you think?
Yeah, Commanders are playing well. Jay Downer's playing awesome. He's playing MVP caliber, at least rookie of the year
100%.
caliber,
100%.
football. I think at this point it's his to lose. The way he's played in the last few weeks, and if he keeps it going this season, that he's going to be the rookie of the year. I think him and Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is going to be out this game. So another check for the box, and Jane Daniels to be the rookie of the year this year. And he's going to roll. They're going to roll Cleveland. Like, Cleveland is not a good team. Deshaun Watson is not a good quarterback. They are getting Nick Chubb practicing. He's not going to be back this week, so that should help them in the future, but not in this game. And then as far as the Commanders go, Brian Robinson Jr. is dealing with a knee injury. He may or may not play. He's questionable. But there is a good chance that Austin Eckler, who had a concussion last week, is going to play and be the starter. Something to look at in your fantasy leagues. If you pick up Austin Eckler, he might be the starter. And he's been pretty good in that role, especially with the Chargers. And then as in PPR, definitely catches the ball out of the backfield. So I would look to play Austin Eckler this week if you can pick him up.
Another division game, Raiders at Broncos. Give me the Raiders. I like the Raiders going into Denver here. Broncos have shown some moxie. Bo Nix competent-ish. Definitely not the best quarterback of the draft so far. That honor goes to Jaden Daniels. But you know, the Broncos have a good defense. But you know, there's you know, I like the Raiders D a lot. You know, you've got Max Crosby, you got Christian Wilkins, Gardner Minshew on the offensive side of the ball, always fun. Devontae Adams, obviously, big news that he wants out of Oakland. Out of out of Vegas. I still call him
He's
Oakland
out
Raiders.
too.
He wants, yeah. I don't. Well, of course, if he's on the trading block, he's not playing.
Yeah, he's not.
And I don't
playing
blame
this
him.
week. He's out again.
I don't blame him. He wants to get out of there. And I don't blame him. If Gardner Minshew was throwing me the ball and I was a, you know, arguably top 10 receiver in the NFL, I'd want to get out of there too.
Yeah.
No offense to Gardner Minshew. But if he wants to go to the Jets and play for the Jets, cool. If he wants to go to, you know, the Cowboys, cool. If he wants to go to the Niners, but I don't think that's a Ravens. Jeez, if he goes to the Ravens, could you imagine?
He posted
Oh
a picture
boy.
of Edgar Allan Poe on his IG,
boy. It's over.
Yeah.
Mic drop if he goes to the Ravens. It is
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
Whew, can you imagine
It'd be
Lamar
so
Jackson,
sad.
Derrick Henry, Devontae Adams on the same team?
Yeah.
Oh
that'd
my,
be wild.
yeah. With
It
that
might happen.
defense, oh, dude. Yeah.
So-
I mean, I already
so
said it
I'm-
earlier in this podcast. They've been playing like the best team in the AFC so far the last 2 weeks. If they get Devontae Adams, it's over. But yeah, just my
Yeah.
predictions real quick. I like the Raiders in this game. What about you?
I like the Broncos in this game. Their defense have been playing really good. They've been playing lights out defense. Actually, like they're my pick of the week for fantasy defense. If I was streaming defenses, I would go with them
Okay.
against the Raiders. Devontae Adams, like we talked about, is out. Jacoby Myers is going to be on Certain Island, as they want to call it. He's been an excellent cornerback against wide receiver one, so I don't like Jacoby Myers in this game. If I would bench him, and then so I do see Denver coming away with the victory. Javonte Williams, you know, Bo Nix, he's going to be throwing to Cortland Sutton a lot. Like he's been picking up tons of targets. So another guy to keep an eye out in your fantasy leagues, especially if he's available, because he might be. He's getting a ton of targets. So Cortland Sutton is another guy I'd be looking at. But I do like Denver in this game because of their defense.
I remember a long time ago, you took me to for those who don't know, Tossie is a season ticket holder for the San Francisco 49ers. And a while ago, you took me to an Arizona Cardinals versus Niners game at Levi's.
That was
And
brutal.
what we thought was going to be like a cakewalk victory because Arizona was playing without Kyler Murray and without DeAndre Hopkins back when he was on the team. And we're like, oh, yeah, it's going to be no problem. Niners lost.
They got destroyed.
Niners lost that
destroyed.
game bad.
John
I remember
Connor.
we left like in the third quarter. We're like, screw this. We just like got out of there.
Yeah,
I don't think that's gonna happen this time. But again, division game, man. These division teams play each other relatively well. Niners have looked. Listen, they're your team, right? So, but I'm gonna call it the way I see it. They haven't looked phenomenal so far this season. It's been kind of scary. So we'll see, but I see the Niners winning this game. I don't see them blowing the Cardinals out of the water. Division game, but I think it's gonna be close.
Yeah,
What do
it's
you think?
going to be a closer game. I don't see them covering the 7 points. I think it's going to be closer than that. You know, just because Cardinals historically have played them pretty tough, and John Connor always runs hard against them. So he always tends to have big games. He likes playing against the Niners. So I expect a big game out of him and keeping the Cardinals close. Also, a couple injuries for the Niners. Fred Warner dealing with the ankle injury may or may not play. And that's a huge deal for their defense. And especially when you got a guy like John Connor running the ball. So that's one thing. And then George Kittle with the ribs, he's questionable too. So he's a game time decision. We'll see if he plays. And so if they're missing Kittle and Warner, those are two big guys to go along with, you know, McCaffrey and others that are already out. So it's going to be a tighter game, division game. I think it will go down the wire, but I do think the Niners will pull it out. It's going to be the hottest game at Levi's ever. That's another thing. So it's going to be 99 degrees at kickoff, and it's supposed to be the hottest game ever recorded at the stadium. So the Niners already switched their jerseys, so they're going to wear their whites keep it a little cooler, so they're not wearing the home reds. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, maybe they're making the Cardinals wear their blacks, to heat them up,
Yeah. There's a
But yeah,
there's a for those outside of the Bay Area, there's a heat wave right now that's basically like ravaging California and parts of Nevada right now. Where yes, it is October, but my goodness, does it feel like we're in the
crazy.
dead of July? It's I was
Crazy.
walking around the other day, just walking around picking up my kid from school, and the heat was bouncing off the asphalt, and I could just feel it. Like it felt like I was in Vegas
Yeah,
in July
yeah,
with humidity. Like imagine the desert heat, like that hot 110-degree like Vegas heat, and then add humidity on top of that. Like it was
crazy.
hot. It was hot. But global
I'm not
warming
looking
doesn't
forward.
exist. Global warming's it's a figment
It's a
of your
hoax. It's
imagination.
a
It's a
hoax.
hoax. It's totally non-existent. This is supposed to be
Yeah,
this hot in October and
yeah.
fall, right?
In California.
Anyways,
Yeah,
yeah, 100%.
never recorded this hot before.
No,
Yeah,
I
so
mean this is just a normal
it's
thing.
going to be
We're,
dangerous, actually, to be honest. Like, because a lot of Levi's gets really hot as it is, even in like 80-degree
it
weather.
does.
Like, so I
It
can't
does.
imagine in 100-degree weather. I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, but it's gonna be dangerous for some people to be sitting out there in the sun. So I would
Mm-hmm.
definitely. You might see some
Hydrate.
empty stands too. You might see people like going up to the concourse and not being in their seats because
Yeah.
it's gonna be that hot.
Yeah. I wouldn't
So
blame them. I wouldn't blame them. We've
yeah,
got two more games to cover here. Packers at Rams. How do I feel about this
yeah.
one? Packers. You tell me how you feel,
Oh,
and then I'll chime in.
yeah. This is an easy one. The Packers are gonna win this game.
You think so?
Yeah, yeah. Packers defense is strong. They got Jordan Love back. They almost came back last week after they were getting crushed by the Vikings, and Jordan
True.
Love made it a game.
True.
Rams are just beat up. They're decimated. They don't have a good defense. They don't have a good secondary. Jordan Love will carve them up. Stafford's played valiantly lately, but I do see this as a Packers victory. Rams are going to fall to 1-4.
Okay.
They shouldn't have
I'm with
beat
you.
the Niners either. They should be.
I'm with
they
you.
should have a win. This team.
I'll jump on that bandwagon with you.
Yeah.
Last game of the week that we're going to talk about, because we've already covered Cowboys Steelers and we already covered Saints Chiefs. Giants at Seahawks. Seahawks, listen, man. I have to be honest. I did not expect this team to be like this at the beginning of the season. I don't know if you did. I don't know if that was the thought process of like what this team was going to be like. But they have shown up, and they've shown up against like granted, okay, you beat the Patriots, big whoop. You beat the Dolphins, big whoop. But like they hung with the Lions, and they hung with them really well, I think, in that game at Detroit. And the first one was week one was against Denver. So who knows? So I've been pleasantly surprised by the Seahawks. I think the Giants, they've got momentum, but they need to be scoring touchdowns and not field goals. That's number one. And number two, the receiver's name Malik.
Like Neighbors, he's
Thank
out.
you. Concussion protocol,
concussion.
right?
Yeah.
Yep. So he's out. That's a big
Devin
difference. 'Cause I think
Singletary
he
is
made.
also doubtful.
Yeah.
They're running back,
Yeah.
this is Seattle's game to win. Seattle's
Yeah.
gonna win
I
this
agree.
game. They're playing well. They got Kenneth Walker back, who looked awesome last week. He had 3 touchdowns, was running all over the place. He's looking good now. Seattle's offense is clicking. Geno Smith is playing really well. They got Tyler Lockett back in there. They got, I can't say his name. It's Nick Chigma.
Sure.
The wide receiver and Metcalf and DK Metcalf. So those 3 guys should be doing their thing. Geno Smith throwing, Kenneth Walker doing his thing, running the ball, and then the Giants defense is not good. They're not good, and with their lack of offensive fire, their best offensive player, Malik Neighbors, is out. Their second best offensive player, Devin Singletary, is out. They're going to bring Tyrone Tracy Jr. is going to be the starting running back. So we have no idea what to expect from him. He's a rookie. This is a converted wide receiver, so maybe because they're going to be down, he's going to be good in PPR.
Tossie has.
And
there you are. Yep.
yeah, am I back? So
No,
Tyron
you're good.
Tasty Jr. Good, like I think PPR fantasy because he's going to ball the backfield, and then Wan'Dale Robinson, big day against Seattle. I would, if you're playing daily leagues or anything like that, I would play him because he's going to probably catch about 12 balls.
Okay.
And he might have like 60 yards, but in a PPR league, and if you get a point per reception, like he's going to have a monster game. He might even score a touchdown. So
Okay.
I like him a lot. Wan'Dale Robinson.
All right. All right, folks. That is literally every game of Week 5 of the NFL. You heard our picks. You heard Tossie break down some fantasy implications. Listen to his advice, man, because if you listen to Tossie as far as fantasy advice goes, you're most likely winning some games here. If you listen to my advice on which teams win and lose, you're about 50-50. So we'll see. It's a pick your poison, if you will. But we're going to let Tossie go because he is enjoying that Hawaiian life off of the island of Kauai. I know. You don't want to come back, right?
Mahalo.
I wouldn't want to come back. I like it there.
Awesome. It's been an awesome trip. I'm coming back tomorrow, though. So
It's
I'll be
so
back
nice
in time
there.
to be at the Niners game in the 100-degree heat. I'll be.
Are you going to do it? Are you going to go?
Oh, yeah. I'll be there. And I'll be there. And I'll probably have to go in like my bathing suit, because it's going to be so hot. Hopefully they set up a slip and slide down the stairs so you can.
I love it. Listen, if you liked this episode of the PTW podcast, do us a huge favor and like and subscribe to the PTW podcast. Like this episode first off, and then subscribe to the PTW podcast here on YouTube. And if you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or anywhere else you listen to your podcast, make sure to follow us. Leave us a review of any kind that would be beneficial for us in any way, shape, or form. We greatly, greatly appreciate it. We've been having a lot of fun doing this. We hope that you are enjoying our shenanigans, our silliness, our naivete sometimes here and there, if you will, when it comes to the NFL, but also just the love that we have for this game and our respective teams, however trashy they may be in my case. Until next time, my name is Amir. This is Tossie the Football Greek. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Enjoy Week 5, and we'll see you next time.
Let's go. Aloha.